All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. All right, so I just want to thank everybody for coming out here to Utah State's first Life After Graduation panel. I want to thank everybody for coming. It's a good turnout. So I think whether you're here for class or whether you're here to help a friend out or whether you just came to learn some more information about the job world, I guarantee you that by the time we walk out of here tonight that we're all going to have a little bit of advice and we're all going to be a little bit more prepared for what's ahead of us in our near future. Tonight we're lucky enough to have 5 former Aggie student athletes. Some of them that we know, others that we're going to get to learn more about. So first off right here, we have a former Utah State football player, Grant Calverley. Let's give it up for Grant. Thank you. Next, we have a familiar face that some of us might know, a former volleyball player here at Utah State, Amy Crosbie. Next up, we have the very familiar face, the basketball star, Brady Jardine. Another very, very familiar face, some of us for bad reasons, but we have the former gymnastics star, Olsen. Last but certainly not least, another football player here at Utah State, we have Ed Powell. Okay, so for the agenda for the night, we're gonna give our panelists a little bit of time to talk, and then we're gonna turn the time over to the audience, ask some questions, find out a little bit more about what you guys want to know, and we can ask away. So the panelists, they're each going to take about 5-7 minutes to tell us about their background. They're going to share with us their education, what they went through. They're going to share us what profession they're in right now. And they're also going to give us a little bit of advice about what they think we should do and stuff that we probably shouldn't do. So I'm going to turn the time over to Grant. He'll start us off.
As DJ said, my name is Grant Calverley. I came to Utah State from Riverside, California. I actually grew up with JT. We played baseball together as young kids, all the different travel teams and all that. I've been friends with JT for about 15 years now. Used to have to drag him along, as the star of the baseball team. JT was just a little young kid. I spent a year and a half in junior college, Riverside Community College. Came here, played O-line. JT and our buddy Nate Dandridge came up from the same high school that we were all the same high school together. I am now a school counselor at Logan High School. Got my bachelor's degree from Utah State along with my master's degree in school counseling. I finished my bachelor's degree in 3.5 years, and so I finished my entire master's degree while I was on athletic aid, so that was nice. I didn't have any student loans, once I got out of school. I've been a counselor at Logan High now. This is my 7th year, and I really enjoy the profession. It's been a blessing. I've got 2 little kids, married, so it's great with my time. I'm out of there by about 3:15. Got plenty of time to spend with my family, hang out with kids and all that. I also, kind of on the side, I do a home theater install business. I've been doing that for about 6 years now. Just kind of started that on my own. Do home theater installs, hang TVs, theater systems, theater rooms, speakers, audio, all that stuff. I guess some advice for you guys, definitely make connections with your professors. That's one thing that I really lacked when I was here at Utah State. I think I was kind of the back of the class type of guy, just kind of sneaking in, right when the bell, or not when the bell rang, but sneaking in just, right when class started, didn't really make connections with my professors. That's one thing that you guys are really going to want to have if you're planning on going on to graduate school. You need to have connections with your professors to write good letters of recommendation for you, and take school seriously. I think I kind of just cruised through and tried to get through it as fast as I could, and I never really mastered the content in my classes. I, more or less just kind of went and did what I had to do to get B's, B pluses, A minuses. I never really mastered the content. Take advantage of the opportunity you guys have as student athletes and really learn the content for the field that you guys want to go into. And then one other thing that I really recommend is assess where you guys want to be 5, 10, 15 years from now, and make sure that path that you guys are trying to go on is going to get you there. If you guys want to be traveling for work, obviously that's you're going to want to find a job that you're going to be able to travel with. If you guys want to raise a family, if you guys want to be home, and not traveling, make sure that you guys are doing things that are really going to allow you to fulfill your long-term goals. Okay. So I guess I am working in the profession that I went to school for. One thing, kind of looking back, also at my time, on the athletic field, I'm gonna be real honest. I was checked out by the time I was done. By the time I was done playing, I was physically done playing football. I came here. I redshirted my first year. My second year here, I started at right tackle for the first 2 games. Got injured. Pretty much missed the rest of the season with an ankle injury. Then my senior year, I broke my hand, and my playing career was really limited by that. So literally by the last game, I played offensive line. By the last game of the season, I played my entire career at about 295. By the last game, I was down to about 280, already dieting to try to get that weight off. I was mentally checked out of sports. Make sure that you guys are really taking advantage of the opportunities you guys have, and play to the fullest. But know that there's going to be life after you're done with your sport, and prepare for that. So that's what I got.
Okay, I got a list for me, so I'll stay on track. Amy Crosbie, I see some recognizable faces, and yes, I do miss Utah State, if you're wondering. But I was a former volleyball player, and since he didn't tell you the years, I'm not going to tell you the years, you can find that on your own. I played outside hitter, and got my degree in family consumer science education. I'm currently working on my master's degree in professional communication, and I can't believe it's taking me this long, so that might be one bit of advice. If you're thinking master's, just dive in and get it done. I mean, you can take some time off, but I took a while off, so being a student again has been pretty crazy. I have a family as well. I actually just had a baby in October. I have 3 kids. I have 2 girls and a little boy finally, so he's 6 months old. I work at Weber State University. I've been gone 3 years from my position here at Utah State, which is crazy. I was the Assistant Director of Student Athlete Services for 7+ years. I worked here, saw this building get built, helped with a lot of different things in this building. But I'm currently at Weber State as an Associate Athletic Director and a Senior Woman Administrator. And it's been an awesome experience. One of the crazy things is I love my job here. I love everything about it. I wasn't searching for a new job, but when the opportunity came, I was more prepared than I ever thought I was. So I entertained it, and I ended up taking it. And I'm thankful that I have. I've grown a lot as an individual and as a professional. I don't know if I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do when I grow up. It's just been, I've just been able to go with the flow, and I'm so thankful for that. I got out of college, finished playing volleyball, and went straight into an assistant position for the volleyball team here at Utah State. So I was with that program for 1.5 years, and then the position that I was in, the Champs Life Skills, which is now Student Athlete Development, opened up, and Brian approached me about that position, and I jumped and went right into that and worked there for 7+ years, and then kind of just went on to my next thing. At this point, I could see myself being an athletic director. I also could see myself continuing to be an associate and being really happy. I'm not really chasing the title at this point, just kind of living it as we go and enjoying and trying to just continue to grow. As far as suggestions, I was very purposeful and driven. Probably should have had a little more fun in college, so not too much, but a little bit. I look back on my experience, and there's not much I would change. I was extremely involved. I got to know a lot of student athletes. I was involved in SAMS, in the mentor program. I was involved in SAC. I did stuff on campus. I got involved in my major, and I I just really took advantage of pretty much all the opportunities. I did an internship with the SWA at the time. She actually ended up going on medical leave. So I think that might be where it kind of started growing for what I wanted to do. She went on medical leave for a little bit, and I kind of took over some of the roles, which was kind of crazy because I was pretty young. So I just tried to keep things together and not mess up. But as far as advice, it goes by so fast. I mean, most of you, give me a show of hands. Are you graduating in a week? 2 weeks, or whenever graduation is? Raise your hands high. You gotta be pumped. So the rest may be juniors, sophomores. Do we have juniors? Sophomores? Freshmen? Rock on. We all need to take some advice from him. He's ready to go. So I guess just you guys are so blessed with so many opportunities. You've got coaches, you've got a network of people that are there to help you. Just don't wash it away. And it's easy to just go each day and survive. But just take advantage. I can't believe how much things have grown that I've heard about your weight room I just walked past. It's amazing. So be thankful for your experience, get involved, and really enjoy it. And don't wish it away. Even if we all know being a student athlete, you can have great days, you can have days where you're like, I so want to be out of here. So take advantage of that. Networking is a big deal. If you know what you want to do, this valley is full of people that are willing to help you and give you an internship. So be active about that. There's opportunities. Don't just wait till some of you are already there 2 weeks of graduating. Okay? What's next? And that's okay too. Just go with the flow. But stay connected. Stay connected to this institution. It's a great place. Let's see. If I do anything differently, I'm just going to say I probably would have a little more fun. You're on, Brady.
First to tell you how mad I was when she left us. So she bailed on me, my sophomore year. She couldn't put up with me anymore. But
yeah, he drove me out of here.
Drove her out. I'm Brady Jardine. I'm originally from Twin Falls, Idaho, 2.5 hours from here, so not too far away. I graduated high school in 2006. I went straight on a 2-year mission for my church in Texas, and I got back in 2008 and came straight here as a freshman. And originally I was actually coming to school to be an ophthalmologist and eye surgeon. That's what I'd always wanted to do. That was kind of the field that I planned on going in. Because of a couple of acquaintances and people that I'd met, I actually dropped all of my pre-med stuff that I'd been doing through high school and went into the business field. I dual majored here at Utah State in finance and economics, so I got 2 bachelor degrees while I was here as an athlete. With the basketball program, they kind of forced us to stay here in the summer, forced, I guess, if you will. And it gave me the opportunity to get 2 degrees. And so I was fortunate enough to be able to do that. I played basketball, obviously, and my career was a little bit interesting. My freshman year, came back right off a mission. I wasn't in shape, wasn't ready to play. So I started the season redshirting, missed the first half of the season, and one of our players broke his hand, and so my red shirt was pulled. And so halfway through the season, I started playing. Sophomore, junior years I played, and then the third game of my senior year, I was actually in the process, I was kind of getting excited. I talked to a couple of possible agents and things. I wanted to go and play professional basketball overseas with a bunch of my buddies. In the third game of the year, I had what was called a Liz Frank fracture in my foot. Basically, I ripped the ligament, my midfoot joint separated, and I had to have a surgery that made it so I couldn't play competitive basketball anymore. And so I was told, basically, that my basketball career was over. And so it was interesting how in one day I went from thinking my career was going to last and was going to continue for hopefully a few more years at least to in one day knowing I had to go into the workforce. And sports were now kind of a thing of the past and I had to grow up a little bit. And it was a challenge. And to be honest, it has been a challenge. It's really hard because everybody in here, we've all kind of donated our lives, if you will, or given everything you have to your sport. And you grow up and it's what you do. It's kind of all that you know. And you're used to having everything else that you do be dictated by what your sports schedule is. Your off season, when you're playing, when your practices are, what you have to do physically to prepare. And as soon as sports are over, it's like a whole new world just opened up. And it's really kind of hard, to be honest, to figure out exactly what life is about from there on. And so As far as me working in the profession that I thought I was a student athlete, obviously I changed completely, but I love what I do. I now work as an investment advisor. I do financial planning I actually work out of a firm that we have a local office here. It's a Western States firm. I do everything from working with individuals on their own financial planning to I run now company 401ks and do all the investments for them. I meet with their individual employees and help them know what they need to do as far as preparing for retirement or reaching the financial goals that they have. And I love it. The reason I ended up making the switch is because I knew that I wanted to work with people. I wanted to have something that forced me and allowed me to be out and to be with the community, to get to know people, and that's what I love to do. And so my first bit of advice is, I know that some of you are graduating, you've got degrees, but make sure that you go into something that you like. Because life is miserable if you have to go to work every day. One thing my grandpa taught me, and I've always tried to live by it, is he said, I got to go to work every day of my life. He got to. And it was because he enjoyed it. And obviously with work, it's just like sports. You've got the good days and you've got the bad days. But you need to find something that you feel satisfied in what you're doing, that you feel like you're actually being a benefit to somebody. Because if you do, it's fun. It really is fun. I think a lot of times as athletes, we think when sports are over, life is over. There is a lot of life after sports. And to be quite honest, it can be pretty good. I've been very fortunate. I've been very blessed since I've been done playing as far as my business has gone. And I've really enjoyed it. So my first part of recommendation to you, even though you may have a degree now or you're getting close to wrapping one up, just because you have a degree doesn't necessarily mean that's what you've tied yourself to. Find something you enjoy doing. Get to know people outside of what you're doing, get to know people inside of what you're doing, and make sure it's what will make you happy. As far as what could I have done or what did I do to help me effectively prepare for the transition? In my opinion, there were two things one thing I think I did really well and one thing I think I could have been better at. The first, and it's already been mentioned a little bit, networking is the most important thing you can do right now, period. If you think of all the students around the world that are graduating with degrees, if you look at the economic situation right now, small businesses are being put into situations where it's less enticing for them to hire new people. Because of some of the things that are being put into place and regulations that are being done by the government, it is harder for employers to hire new people because financially it's a burden for them. And so you have to make sure that they want you bad. You have to do things that they say, it's worth what it's going to cost me to bring on this new employee or to train them or to prepare them for what we do. And so my biggest key or piece of advice and one of the biggest blessings that's helped me is I did everything that I could to get to know successful people around this valley. My wife is from Orem. I'm from Southern Idaho. We decided to stay here. We now own a house in Hyde Park. So networking here really helped. But just because you may not stay around Logan doesn't mean you should get to know people here. Logan is kind of a secret nest egg or gold mine for very successful and wealthy people. There are actually more millionaires per capita in Logan than there are anywhere else in the state of Utah. You need to take that to your advantage. People that are wealthy are typically pretty successful and good at what they do. Find ways to get to know them and learn from them. There are the business guys around here, the small business owners, the doctors, they're more than happy to sit down and to get to know you. Quite frankly, they'd really like to get to know the athletes anyways. It's kind of a cool thing for them as well as for you. So find ways to get to know people in your field that are good. Because even if you don't stay around the valley, they probably will know someone somewhere that can help you find a job. And I found that who knows you, quite honestly, might be the most important thing right now with the way the economy is and what their opinion of you may be. So that would be my first piece of advice. The other part that's been hard, and it's something I have to work on every day, is you have to learn to have your own motor. Going through college sports, you guys know how it is. It's your life. And you're told where to be, when to be there, when to eat, when to sleep, what you need to be studying, and what you need to be doing. And quite honestly, you get so used to being programmed that the coaches give you a schedule and tell you where to be, that we kind of lose the skill of self-motivation, I think, every once in a while. And as soon as you're done with school, there's nobody out there pushing you, period. No one cares if you show up to work. No one cares if you're out trying to find good opportunities, because if you're not doing it, somebody else is. And so one thing I challenge you to do is find a way to be self-motivated. Make sure that you're pushing yourself, like has been said, in your studies. Take advantage of them. Make sure that you're working hard, that you're getting good grades, because coaches can only push you so much. But again, as soon as you're done, no one's going to be there to push you. And if you want to be successful in life, it's got to come from you. The great thing about, even as tough as the economy may be right now, if you want to be successful, you can be. That's still the greatest thing about the country we live in, is whatever you put into something, you can get out of it. So if you want to be successful, find a way to make it happen. If you hit a dead end, go and find another way, and eventually it will work. Looking back on my experience, some things that I may have done different, I was very blessed. I wish my playing career, health-wise, would have gone a little bit differently, but I loved Utah State. It's a great community. The coaches, the fans, the students, the atmosphere is great. That's why we decided to stay here. And so as Amy said and has been spoken of, enjoy your process. Coach Morrill always threatened us a little bit. He said, make sure you enjoy college basketball. And he'd always say that in the days that no one wanted to be at practice. And you've all been there. There are days that you do not want to be there. And you just think, man, as soon as I'm done, life will be so much better. Well, I'm done. I can't play competitively anymore, and most days I would do anything to go back. So enjoy the process. Be grateful for the blessings that you have to be able to be physically able to play, to be in a position that you've got scholarships or aid to be able to play the sport you love, and to be in a community that supports the athletics. Utah State really is an incredible hookup. It's got great connections for business and post-graduation, but also while you're here, it's as fun of a place as I've ever been to. So I guess that would be my advice to you, is to enjoy the process, do a couple of those things, and realize that even when sports are done, life's pretty good. If you want it to be, you can go out and make things happen. So, thank you.
Okay, well, most of you know who I am, but I'm Lori, and I'm the physical therapist up here. If you don't know who I am, you're lucky, I guess. And I did gymnastics here. I get to be the oldest up here, which is embarrassing. I can't believe it. Someday you guys will be this old, and you won't believe it's gone so fast. But I never thought I'd be sitting here in Logan, to be honest. I mean, when I came out here for my 4 years, it was, well, I guess I'll go to Utah for my 4 years of gymnastics and get right out. That was my plan. And don't say anything like that. If whatever you say will happen. If you don't want it to happen, it'll come. But I've been amazed at, like he says, as far as, I didn't even know I was networking during the time I was doing it. And some of it, I think, is just your mentality as an athlete, that hardworking, desire, and I just totally push that on you as far as whatever you're doing. A lot of it, I was volunteering, doing my volunteering to get into physical therapy school. I definitely knew when I walked on campus I wanted to do physical therapy. To be honest, I don't really know why. I had a little bit of experience when I'd gotten hurt in high school, but never even went to the clinic. My coach had a friend that was a physical therapist that showed up every once in a while, and she would treat us, and I just kind of thought it sounded like a cool job. And so when I came up here, I knew I wanted to do physical therapy. I knew what I needed to do to get into physical therapy school. You had to get really good grades, and then you had to apply after. And I think I got lucky in a sense of, once I went through my 4 years, I still had another plan. And I watched all my friends kind of be done with everything and have to move on, and I still had another plan as far as going to physical therapy school. When I was applying, it was really, really hard to get into school. And it was definitely needing good grades and just having the experience that they wanted. And as an athlete, it was a little bit hard to get all the hours that they wanted. And so I was trying to fill them in during the summer, and I got kind of the bare minimum. And so when I was applying, I felt like I had done a good job. I felt like I had done everything I needed. And in some sense, I think you're a little bit, feel like you're entitled as an athlete. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit more. But when I got all my applications, or the reports back up if I had made it in or not, I had applied all over, and I didn't get in. I was on a lot of waiting lists, and it was quite devastating initially, because I felt like I had done everything right, and I was wondering, what could I have done wrong? And some of it was, just because I had been doing athletics so much, I had lacked a little bit of what other people had been doing. They'd been working for a few years. They had gotten more experience. And I just thought maybe that athletic part of it would override that. And I think I just didn't have the years of experience that some of them have had. And so the second time, I had applied. There was one other school that I was waiting for. and luckily I had got into it, but I had this moment of just kind of panic and freak out, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to be something else. And I did not want to wait any time. I didn't want to waste a year. I didn't want to play. I should have played more too, because I wanted to do everything just back to back. And some of it is enjoy these years. Pretty soon you just have to settle down, and college and just a little bit of this being young and a little bit of not knowing what's next. I think sometimes that panics us all, because you guys have had something planned for almost, all your life. And all of a sudden, you're facing this unknown. And the unknown of someone not telling you what to do, the unknown of where should I go. And it's kind of scary, and you want to rush it a little bit. And that's one thing I would suggest, is don't feel rushed. It's going to take some time. Those people that you want to be, or those places that you want to be that time, it's going to be a journey. It's not going to be a jump right to. And that's the biggest thing, is finding out where, if it's the profession that you want to be in, if you can talk to those kind of people that are there, that their jobs seem appealing, find out how they got there. It's usually not a very smooth line. It's usually kind of jumping around and trying to find that. But once I finally got into school, and when I was not even half done, and it was in Denver that I got in, I got a call from where I had volunteered at the hospital asking me when I was going to be done with school. We're going to have someone retire. We want you to take this job. I hadn't even gotten through school yet, and I was already getting a call. I told him, thanks, I don't want to move back to Logan, but I seriously told him I didn't, thank you, but I didn't want it. My husband's like, what? So obviously we're back here, but those connections started everything that I didn't even know was gonna come, And I think that's one thing, is if someone's offering you something and it doesn't quite seem like what you were thinking about doing, maybe it's a grad assistant position, somebody's seeing something in you that they like. And if you don't quite have another route, highly consider it. Because I think that's one thing that as an athlete you have an advantage. People think highly of you. They think they want to give you opportunities, especially in this valley. I'm amazed. They kind of, oh my gosh, it's an athlete, and it's you got to take advantage of that a little bit. But when I came back here, I still, to be honest, when I first got into school, I thought I wanted to be more in like brain injury, spinal cord injury, and it was a little bit being naive that I thought I wanted the more difficult physical therapy. I wanted the biggest challenge I could handle. And I actually did a ton of volunteering. I did a whole summer at a place that was 1 floor brain injury, 1 floor spinal cord injury. And I don't think I've ever been so depressed in my life. It was a really long summer. I have never seen such horrible, sad stories. And I watched these therapists with a smile on their face and very positive, and talking to these parents who had, possibly vegetables as kids. And it was so overwhelming to me. And I was kind of wondering if maybe I can't handle this job. And it makes me laugh now to think of the position I'm in now, that I wanted to head that route, because it wasn't me. There was no reason except for I thought it would be hard and difficult. And yet, as I think just by kind of listening to this isn't the route, and as I came back, I was just going to do more outpatient, got called, got a job. Within those years when I first came back here, it was actually Dale and Dr. Davis who actually called to find out if I wanted to come up to the university, that they were possibly creating a position up here, and they were wondering if I would be interested. Again, it was nothing I was searching for. It was someone had searched me out. And I feel so grateful for that. I'm in the job that if someone would have said, what is your dream job? I couldn't even have dreamed this up, because it's a rare job. It's a position that I never even thought could, there's not very many physical therapists up in an athletic training room. And I've got to come back. I get to work with athletes. I get to work with I get your guys' mentality. I have a passion for you to get back on the field. And I got lucky, but I hope it was some of the hard work that I put in at the same time as someone seeing that I was willing to work hard and wanting, just having them like you. And I've had so many people work under me now, the same thing. You know, you have to start in these kind of minimal jobs. That's the big thing. You guys are going to get out there. You've been these athletes. You've been successful in the athletic world. And all of a sudden, you have to kind of work your way back up. And sometimes it's quite a few years. I think that's the hardest thing coming out, is all of a sudden you're kind of, you know, people are like, oh, what are you doing? You're like, oh, I'm in this kind of, you're kind of embarrassed to tell them what you are in, because you have to start at the bottom and work your way up. But in that job, in that bottom job, work your heart out. Show them what you can do, because people are going to see that. The people around you are going to see that, and it's going to bring you into a better place. So, as far as looking back at, well, just even suggestions to prepare, I don't know if you want to call it grieving or what you want to call it, but you're going to go through missing your sport. You're just going to miss it. That's all there is to it. I would love to be back there. I'm jealous every time I watch you guys. You're in such a fun time of life. The good and the bad, it's all, you're going to miss it, I promise you. And you're going to miss, I think you miss just that camaraderie, the team, you'll never have as good of friends as you have now. I mean, you really won't. And my biggest suggestion is don't forget them. Don't. My best friend is in Denver, Colorado, and she knows everything that's going on with me through texting. Do you know what I mean? Because she gets me. She's a teammate. She gets me. And you'll miss that, and just don't lose it. Keep connected, even if it's just one person, because no one will understand you as much as those teammates that you guys have like sweated and had blood and tears and won and lost. I mean, seriously, you'll never have that again with somebody. And just don't lose that. I mean, I have friends where every 2 years we meet up in Lake Powell, and it's just no kids and party and talk about the good days, and it's seriously, we still laugh, and you know, we talk about how good we were. You always think you were good back then, you know, but you can at least get back with the people that you really love, and I really suggest that you don't lose that. You'll miss the competition. You'll just never have that again. And I used to be so jealous of the other sports, because I was like, you can still play basketball, you can still play, you know, football, maybe not so much flag, I don't know, but just kidding. But honestly, you just never have that competition again, and you'll really miss that. And you got to find something else that kind of fills that void. And I don't know what it is for you, but I know for me, I've taken on running. I meet up actually with a teammate twice a year. We pick a big race and we run, and it's a girls' weekend out. And again, it's kind of filling that whole void of what you do miss. And you'll miss the structure. That's another thing. And for me, it goes two ways. You either need to figure out how to be motivated, or I think some of you that are a little too crazy motivated, you have to figure out how to kind of tame it down. I think the biggest thing for me is that I look back at it as a student athlete, it's almost easy, because it's straightforward. Here's how to get an A, here's how to please your coach, just do it. When you get out, it's like marriage, being a mom, being a worker. Nobody's grading you. Nobody's telling you how good you are doing. Nobody's telling you, you know, if you have an A or an A+, you can scale down a little bit, or are you way back here at D? And I know I miss that. I miss that, just someone telling me you're doing okay. And you almost have to figure that out for yourself. And I think that's one thing that as an athlete you've just kind of thrived on. You've thrived on that constant kind of reinforcement if you're doing good or bad. And all of a sudden you're kind of on your own. And I think that, to me, is really hard. And if you're that high-strung type A person, motherhood and just work is just really difficult to kind of tame it down, as far as to keep it in control, I guess. And so at the same time, take all that you've learned as an athlete, your hard work, your dedication, the motivation, and turn it around into everything that you're going to be. I'm so proud of all my teammates as I look at them as being moms and being workers, and because I feel like they are so successful, because they know how to work hard, they know how to kind of dig deep when things are hard. I feel like in marriage they know how to, you know, take on the hard times, and I think we're a little bit more fighters, you know, which I think is a good thing. I think I've said everything I wanted to say.
How you guys doing? I'm Ed Powell. I'm from California. Grew up about 30 miles away from these guys, so I'm pretty close with Jason and Grant. Went to a very small high school. On my team, I probably only had like 24 kids on the team. We all went both ways. Wasn't fortunate enough to get a college scholarship right out of high school, so I went to a junior college. Went there for 2 years, and I transferred up here. And in the process, they made me switch positions, so it was like a learning curve. Just coming here, meet new people, classes, which I'm gonna be honest, I always probably put football first before I did education. So that was one thing I had struggled with when I first got here. Brian I probably gave Brian a heart attack all the time. I was always in his office, and if it wasn't for him and Troy, I probably wouldn't have graduated. So then that's one thing we talk about networking. Like, that's probably the biggest thing here at Utah State is the network. Came here, I graduated. The degree I obtained, that's why I said I kind of was like Brian, I gave him a headache. I was always cutting it close, you know what I mean, like as far as grades and things like that. But they stayed on top of me, and I was able to graduate. I ended up having to combine 2 of my degrees together to graduate, but I did, so I was able to graduate. Now I'm actually, like Amy, I decided to go back to school, so I'm only like 3 classes away from my master's in counseling. So you like we all said, we all do this just because, I mean, you want to find something that you enjoy. And when I first got into the working field, I kind of was just like money driven. Like, I always want to make money. I want to make a lot of money. And now I look back, I'm actually going back to school to do something I actually like. I like working with kids. So, I mean, the money, if it's there, it's good. But I would wake up and be like, man, I don't know if I could do it. I'm kind of miserable. You know what I mean? So, to be honest, I was like, I got it. So I sat back, I sat down, talked to my wife. I was like, you think it'll be okay if I went back to school? I was a breadwinner in the family, you know what I mean? My wife, she's a teacher. So it was one of those things, I make really good money, so I had to sit down and talk to her. Like, hey, would you be okay if I stepped away from this gig? And she was like, I just want you to be happy. So that's just one of the things, the degree I obtained. Sociology was my main thing. So I met, I'm trying to think, like, I don't know if you guys know Mr. Liker. Do you have any of you guys have Mr. Liker yet in sociology?
We got him now.
Yeah, see, he's the reason why I was like, man, I want to stick with this degree. I like working with kids, so that's another person I work with to network. So, as far as the profession I'm in, I work for a steel company down in Brigham City. And basically, we build steel buildings like the one you guys, like your new gym across the hall. We built those. So, and that was just a gig that I happened to just stumble upon after playing. I played indoor football for about 5 years. So I bounced around from city to city, state to state for about 5 years. And I did that, and I finally was like, I need to try to do something. So I was able to get on with them. I was moving up in the company really fast, and then now it just kind of slowed down because I just not really lost my drive. It's just something that I look back and I really didn't have. Like, I like it, but I don't love it. So make sure you guys find something that you guys actually love and you want to do, so you can wake up every morning and just be, all right, I'm refreshed. I can go do what I need to do and then come back home. As far as suggestions for you guys, I mean, I don't want to sound like a broken, you know, but just network. You have to network. And like I said, I probably wouldn't have made it if it wasn't for me networking. Just always meeting with my teachers. Like, a teacher noticed, I mean, you guys all stick out like sore thumbs. The teacher, you may sit in the back of class, he know your name. And so if you get in there, as soon as you get in his office, his or her office, you know who you are right off the bat. So just make sure you get in there and you talk to her. If you have a problem, don't be afraid to address any issue that she has with her. I mean, just with that class or just anything. You never know. Because I used to be the same way, scared, intimidated, sit in the back of the class, and just not really willing to go talk to that teacher. So I got over it, and then they kind of, they know if you have problems. They know everything that goes on in your life. So you think that they can tell. So just make sure you got network. I mean, they all know you guys are athletes. I actually had a chance to network with a counselor here, and I think he would always put his neck on the line for me. I don't know if you can say that, Brian, but Troy. And when it came time for me to actually graduate, I was short about a semester. So I actually came back, worked for the coaching staff where I ran study hall. I checked to make sure guys were going to class and things like that, and I reported to their coaches. So, but that was between Brian and my man Troy for really pushing this issue, because they didn't really have to let me come back. And you know what I mean, I could have stayed back at home in California, not have a degree, and it's a struggle, to be honest, to find a job out there. That's another reason I went back home to California. Sat at home for about 7 months and couldn't get a job. And I was like, man, so I was like, I called Brian and Troy, like, hey, can I come back? And he's like, we'll have to see. So long story short, they pushed, and I was able to get a job with the coaching staff for that year, and I ended up walking. So as far as, that's my suggestion to you guys, is make sure you guys network. Talk to your teachers, talk to Brian. Don't be afraid to talk to Brian. That's why the door's open. Even talk to your coach. My coach was another one I would always talk to. And as far as experience, I wouldn't change it for the world, to be honest. I did a lot of partying. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I had fun, but you also have to balance that out, you know, fun, schoolwork, and everything like that. So as far as would I do anything different, probably as far as the school-wise, I would have focused more on my grades a little bit more. So that's it, really.
So now we're going to take some time. If you guys have any questions, if you could want individually, or if you just want to answer the question, they can answer it as a group. You don't have to raise your hand, just stand up, ask your question.
I'll break the ice. How you doing, Brady? I just wanted to ask you, why did you drop ophthalmology?
Because I got into it and I liked it, but I realized I was going into it purely for the money.
Yeah.
And someone said earlier, I knew I could make a lot of money doing it, but I realized that what I like doing is I like meeting with people. I like being out in the public. I like getting to know people every day and building relationships. And a doctor gets to do that a little bit, but the patients come in and the patients leave. And I wanted something that I could actually get to know a person and throughout the rest of my life, really be there with them and have a relationship with them. And the financial model and the investment business that I'm in, that's what I get to do. So it was nothing wrong, obviously, with the major or the field, but I realized that I wouldn't have loved going to work every day because I couldn't accomplish the things that I really enjoy doing in life and getting to know people.
So thank you.
I actually got a question. Grant and Ed, you guys both spoke about networking with professors, but I just want to ask if anybody else, if you guys can talk about how to network with people in the Valley. I know Brady talked about there's a lot of people in the Valley that want to help out. How would you go about networking? Like, can you give us some advice of how you do that and what to do?
The way that I network right now as a school counselor, I mean, I have millionaires in my office as much as anyone, you know, as much as Brady probably does, that are the parents of some of my students. You know, so some of the networking that I do with those parents, you know, and I've been offered jobs to, you know, to walk away from school counseling and make, you know, over $100,000 a year, and I've turned those down because I really feel like I enjoy what I'm doing. Some of the networking that I do is just do my job right, you know, do a good job. Communicate with people, communicate with those parents that I know, you know, have certain expectations and meet their expectations. You know, I think that's the biggest thing, is just communicating with people, you know. that's what I do right now in my freshman, you know, to kind of network even more than I am, or than I have.
I think it's not as purposeful as you think it is. I mean, this is a created event for you to network with us, but I think it's more natural than you believe. Professors certainly, and you can do it without even being in their office. You can just do it by coming to class, being active, you know, just being out there and setting yourself apart from the rest of the students without you even really actively going in and network. And it doesn't have to be that structured, but they'll know who you are. And I always tell people you gotta be somebody that endears people to you. And that's just all about being who you are and knowing who you are and acting the right way in all settings, because you'll be noticed that way. But as far as opportunities, I know networking opportunities, you guys could go to the Aggie auction. You're there to help out, and you're there to do certain jobs. But at the beginning, and even throughout the whole event, it's all about just meeting with the people who donate towards your scholarships. Those are the people in the community, and I'd probably say that might be some of the ways Brady met a lot of the people that he networked with. Now, you've got the parameters while you're a student athlete that you don't want to cross with donors, but talking to them and talking to them about your professions and what you want to do doesn't break any of that.
Yeah, I totally agree. You know, one thing that student athletes that we had a lot of opportunities to do is in Logan, let's be honest, Logan loves the athletes. I mean, the community is really built around the university and the athletics. And there's lots of opportunities that we either have or we're forced to do to go out in the community and provide service, whether it be service projects that your team do or camps that you put on. Camps are an incredible way to network. If you have a camp, don't be one of the guys that disappears the second the camp is over. Find a way to be involved, be active with the kids, find a way to get to know some of the people that are there. You know, what Amy said, it's endearing. You want people to be endeared to you. If you can get some of their little kids to like you, I bet the parents are going to be endeared to you pretty quick. That's a pretty good assumption. You know, things like that. So when you're out in the community, find ways to get to know people. You know, simple things like when you're standing in line at a grocery store and you know, every one of you know when a little kid's looking at you and can tell or recognizes you as being an athlete. Because you've all had that circumstance. Instead of pretending like you don't see them, turn around, because we've all done that, okay? You've all seen a little kid looking at you and you turn away. Instead of doing that, go over and introduce yourself and get to know the little kid, get to know the family. Things like that. Be in the community and be a part of it. I think that's the biggest thing. Get to know the people, you know, do things that give them a little bit more respect for the person that you are. And as far as specific things, you know, I bet you could go up to Brian, you could say, Brian, this is the field I'm going into. I'd like to know a couple guys in the community that I could maybe call and ask them how they got to where they are. And one thing that you'll find about successful people is they're pretty off to brag. And they like to tell you how they got where they are. So just walk in, you know, say, hey, I'm so-and-so, this is who I am. I play football or I play whatever I play. I'm going into your field. Can you please tell me what it took to be successful? And they're going to be more than happy. So there's specific things you can do like that, but more than anything, when you're out in the community, be a part of it. Don't just disappear. Don't just be one of the guys that hangs back and doesn't get to know anybody. Because if you get to know the people and the kids in the community, you're going to have some contacts that will be a blessing to you.
One of the best contacts that I ever made is his name is on the outside of that plaque, and it's Blake Kirby. I met him just right after I finished playing football here, doing home theater install stuff for him. And the guy, you know, sent my name around, and I was doing some pretty nice jobs for some pretty wealthy people. You know, making a lot of money doing that type of stuff. But you know, just a person that I ended up having to go out and do an install for, and you know, started talking athletics with him, and realized that he was one of our big boosters, and you know, he hooked me up. And you guys got to make sure that you guys got to make sure that you're always carrying yourself with class. You know, you never know when you're going to meet someone in the community that's going to recognize your face or remember you. So just make sure you guys are always carrying yourself with
I got a
class.
question for you, Grant. You know, I go to church with JT. He always talk to me about how good he is on the field. Was he good? Did you say you dislike about your job, your profession?
Anything that I dislike about my profession? You know what? It's honestly one of the most fulfilling professions that I can imagine. You know, there are certain days that I kind of feel like, man, I wish I'd have done something a little bit different. But when all's said and done, the only thing I don't like about my job is pay. You know, I mean, I do wish I had made another $10,000, $15,000 a year. That'd be great. But with the hours that I work and then I've got summer off, I do my installs, and you know, there's my $15,000, $20,000 that I needed. You know, so. But answering the question about JT would be,
You got a lot for him because he
you know, and he was a multi-sport athlete. You know, we grew up together, like I said, playing baseball, and you know, he was a good baseball player. He JT was kind of, you know, being as big as he was, or big as he is, tall as he is. You know, he was kind of a freak athlete for, you know, someone that was 6'3", 220, you know, running pretty well down the field and stuff.
I just had to confirm. I just had to know.
Now he can't even walk upstairs.
So why you didn't take those other opportunities as far as jobs? So like some of the kids' parents and stuff offered you.
You know what? One of them was like I was talking about, Blake Kirby. He offered me a position. He used to be the CEO of Innovar, and he offered me a position to travel. You know, I've had a lot of experience doing car audio installs, home theater installs, and he offered me a position. The company that Innovar, they make chips, and one of the big projects that they were working on was they were making chips. This is about 6 years ago, that installed in the computer of a vehicle and would send text messages to like 16-year-old drivers' parents saying, "Hey, your kid, you know, hit 65, you know, whatever, that type of stuff." And he actually was trying to get me to go and travel and kind of be the head of, like, you know, installing these. Pepsi and Coca-Cola used them in their delivery vehicles, you know, so trying to get some feedback. You know, insurance companies were offering, you know, discounted rates for people to have those installed in their vehicles, and he offered me a position doing that, but I didn't want to travel. You know, and that's where I talked to you guys about, you know, if you guys want to, you know, have a family, if you guys want to be stationary, you know, you gotta pick the right thing. But he offered me that position, and I couldn't take it because I didn't want to be away from home. You know, it just didn't work for me. So.
More questions?
Ladies?
I got one. A few of you guys mentioned finding something that you love to do and, you know, enjoy. It's not really work, you know, it's exciting for you. How did you guys come about finding what you wanted to do? You know what I mean? Like, I'll be honest, I don't enjoy my major whatsoever. How can I find something I actually enjoy?
He's an engineer, so.
Yeah.
My husband is a counselor as well, and he actually went into engineering and absolutely hated it, and kind of was in that lost state of, I do not like the people in the engineering department, you know, just didn't even get along with them and that kind of thing. His big suggestion, what he did was kind of like, what kind of people do I like to hang out with? Because that's who you're going to work with, you know. And I do think that's a big deal, is whatever you choose to work in, you're going to have to hang out with those kind of people. And obviously there's a wide variety of different things. And it's not that easy of a suggestion to you, but at the same time, who are the kind of people that you like to hang out with? And start looking at what kind of majors they are in or what kind of jobs they're in. Is it coaching or is it, you know, I don't know. I feel like that is a big thing, though, is figuring out who you're going to hang out with every day and enjoying that. And that may help kind of guide, at least maybe shut some doors of what's not going to work for you. But I do think that's a nice suggestion of at least kind of maybe guiding you, thinking of that. Because it's a big deal. You're going to work 40 hours plus a week or whatever you do, and you do want to hang out. You want to be able to get along and you know, enjoy what the same people enjoy with. So that's just a little suggestion. I know that's what he tells kids as they're going into college of trying to decide what major, is trying to figure out, you know, those people that like the same things you like, what are they going into?
The other thing too is don't be scared to ask questions. Sorry, Molly, I didn't mean to. No, but hey, don't be scared to ask questions. If there's a field that you think you might be interested in, find a couple guys that you know work in it and take them to lunch and sit down and say, okay, what do you like about your job? What do you not like about your job? If you could change something about your job, what would it be? I mean, I think sometimes we're scared for whatever reason to ask people what they like or don't like. Ask them, because they're going to tell you, these are the things I really enjoy, these are the things I don't enjoy. And as you go through that, you'll think, okay, maybe this is something I'd like. I like those things, or I don't like this. And the other thing too is, I don't know what the statistic is, but your first job is probably not going to be your last job. So if there's something you think you might enjoy, give it a shot. give it everything you've got, and if you don't like it after a little bit, find something else. Until you do find something that you get excited about going to work. You know, don't feel like you have to commit and it's the rest of your life. I might not be where I'm at in 5 years, I don't know. I might be.
Molly.
I have a question for you, Amy. Sorry, this is just for her. Do you have the same undergrad? And I want to do what you're doing. So, are you still traveling down to Weaver? And does your husband still work here? Okay, so my question is how, like I know you have little kids, how do you balance like the work and the family? And is it like hard? You know what I'm saying?
It is hard. It's definitely, some days I feel like, oh, that's a good mom and a good professional today. And I'm a really bad mom and a great professional or a great professional, or, you know, every day is different. I have a really supportive husband. He's pretty amazing. So for background, I still live here and drive an hour to work. So I commute, which a lot of my friends back home in California, they do that. They just sit in traffic. It takes them, you know, forever to get one way. But I do have a beautiful drive. And the thing I love about my drive is it's my time. I just wish it was free gas. But it's good me time. I'm able to prepare for work and I'm able to decompress. But as far as balancing, when I'm home, I'm home. Right now, it doesn't seem like that because I'm going to school. But I also am realizing that that's such a great example to my children. My girls know that I'm studying, and I'll tease my 8-year-old. I'm like, okay, get your stuff. I wish we could switch what we're doing, but you know, she does her math and her reading while I'm doing my homework. And so it's a tough time, but I know that the example I'm setting for them, and being when I'm home. And I think I know that I'm the kind of individual that could maybe be a stay-at-home mom. I don't know if I'd be a great mom. I was home all the time with them. But to answer your question, it's difficult. I think you can ask any working mother, and they're always. What I do is flexible at times. So if I know I've worked a crazy week, the people I work with understand that I have a family. So it's all about balance and just making sure that you're in the moment and with them. So do I want to leave my 6-month-old when I go to work in the mornings? No. But you just, you know, you stay connected to them and you remember that you just realize it's setting an example for them too. So it's not a great answer. But
At 2 in the morning, you wish we were at work.
Actually, he's awesome. He sleeps, he's already, maybe at the beginning, I wish I could.
Are taking something else on?
I have a
Go
question.
ahead.
Okay, so I'm an accounting major, and a lot of people in my major have a lot higher GPA than I do. And it's been really hard for me to find like an internship, and I've been like looking at job postings, and they all say you have to have this much experience, and you have to have this GPA and stuff. And so I don't know how to tell employers like I have different skills than most accounting students, and I don't know how to tell them like through athletics I have been able to learn this and this and this. So how do you like tell them that I'm different than everyone else, but I'm still like able to keep up? You know what I mean?
No.
You gotta be confident. You guys have so much to sell. And so if you aren't comfortable talking about yourself and how great you are or could be to this employer, frankly, I'm not interested. Because you've got time to set yourself apart, and use your platform of athletics. Because I guarantee you, I have worked with people that have no idea what teamwork is about. They just miss the ball on that one, and they just don't have the ability to work with people. And so I think you got to sit down and identify what your strengths are. And I don't think having a lower GPA is necessarily a weakness. I mean, that's just a way, to be honest, that's a way for them to just take resumes and go boom, 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 and just separate. But you've got to find a way to build up your resume and find a way to communicate with them so it's not just the paper that they're seeing about you.
One of the guys that actually got me in the business, he was a CEO for a big-time financial firm back east, and he got to be well known because the guys that he would hire, or the girls that he would hire, were very successful. And it was interesting. He actually said that the first thing he would do is when he got a resume that had a 4.0, he would throw it away. And I'm serious, he wouldn't even look at it. Because he found that the people that were the best balance for this kind of business, for the accounting or the financial business, weren't people that were 4.0 students. They were students that were about a 2.5 to 3.5 that were involved in a lot of different things. And so really, I think your challenge is you just need to get in front of people and let them see your strengths, because your strengths are probably more person skills or finding ways to solve problems maybe outside of a paper or a book, and let them see that. And you'll find the right employer that realizes what you're worth, and you'll get a job. You just have to get in front of people, and if you need help with some local CPAs here, our firm does a lot of work with them. I'd be more than happy to introduce you to 3 or 4 of them around the valley and see if you can find something there.
The other thing I'd say is be willing to either volunteer or intern and go walk into places so that they have a face with a name and a resume with a face, because I think sometimes that's pretty powerful, and it's not just a paper coming through. And if you're willing to volunteer or intern, which I think in most fields, I do that. Don't feel like it's a waste of time. 1, you're going to get experience and become better at what you're doing, and 2, you're networking. You know, you're showing somebody that you're willing to do the kind of the craft work. You'll do whatever needed to be done, and they're just getting a personality with a name, and that's what wins employers over is that personality. How does they fit? Do they come in? Do they work hard? Do they show up every day? Even in your volunteer work, show them that it is very important, because it's gonna pay off. I mean, that's obviously, I have volunteers with me all the time. I know within about a week if I ever hire them or not. I mean, after a week, sometimes I'm like, this one's not gonna get hired because of their personality. They kind of come in late or whatever, and then you have that one that is just perfect. And so, be willing to do some free work or to do an internship, and really consider where you want to possibly work, or at least get your foot in the door somewhere. And if it's walking, door to door and handing over a resume, sometimes it might be that. But I've had people, I've chosen to be, okay, I'm not going to have any volunteers this week, or this semester, or this year. I'm just too busy. And somebody walks in and just has that smile on their face, and it's like, I really, showed me their interest, they're in, So don't be afraid to do that. And the other thing is, if you're not quite sure what you want to do, but you have these few little kind of gut ideas, go with them. They're just important to get out there and find out it's not what you want to do. It's not a waste of time. To find out what you love to do, some of it is finding out what you don't like to do and kind of narrowing it down. And I think that's really important. And you'll do that when you get done with school, but don't be afraid of getting something that just didn't quite work out, because I think it happens to most people. They kind of weed their way through, and don't feel like it's failing or chose the wrong thing, because it may be a time where it didn't quite work out, but you met this one person that later down the road, that one person connects you to someone else, and it's just that connection. And if you're always working hard and you're always showing them, just that showing them who you are, it's going to pay off. And it just might be, you might not see it at the time,
We'll go about 1 or 2 more questions. If anybody has
Vigil?
any. So I guess I'll take the last one then.
Vigil had one.
Oh, Vigil got one?
Who are you going to root for when we play Weber next year?
That was a hard transition, I'll be honest. When I first took the job, it was actually a little bit confusing. And I get crap if I even wear blue anything. But to be honest, you root for who has your paycheck. So my heart still I'm an Aggie, I'll always be an Aggie. But right now I have to be true to the person that I work for. Should I answer that first,
Mark? What's up?
I got a question. This is for Brady. Do you think it's more beneficial to get a dual degree instead of just getting a master's in just finance? Because I'm a finance major. I just wanted to know.
Yes and no. No, it's not more beneficial. The only reason that I did was because we had to be here in summer. With the way our season went, is we didn't have to be. I'm sorry. We didn't have to be here this summer. Yeah, we had to fill it with classes, so quite frankly, I didn't have to put any extra time into getting both degrees than I would have had to have just get one. In the financial world, though, what you'll find is your degree, quite frankly, doesn't let you do anything in business. You actually have to go through, and you have to go through all the licensing tests. So for every kind of investment or security business that you want to do, there's a new test that you have to pass. And so, you know, a master's for me, I went back and forth on whether or not I wanted to get it. I elected not to, and I'm studying right now to get my CFP, which is a Certified Financial Planner. The only reason I don't have it is because I have to have 3 years in the business. So, I mean, if you have more questions about that, we can sit down and talk, but really, if you want to be in the finance world or the investment business, it's going to be all the specific exams or the specific licensing. So, no, I would say it was more beneficial to have 2.